is an ER that totally separates the types of patients. Whereas the current ER, and most ERs are set up so that you end up with all the patients in the same area. On this side of the corridor are all private rooms for non-emergency patients, not urgent patients. So the patients are taken care of here. They're going to come into their own private room, with their own private space. So instead of being in an area where you are in an area with other patients, you're going to have your own room. Even things like having breakaway doors. So in the event something did happen. This is a non-urgent room. Something did happen to the patient. You had to get in here. It's simple to just walk into the room and do whatever you have to do. The sinks and the cabinets, this is where you start to see, from a safety standpoint, what we've done to keep bacteria away. These are solid core sinks and counters so that you don't have the separation or the gaps that you would have in normal countertops. If you look at the cabinetry, it goes roof line again. You're trying to keep the environment as clean and safe as you can. All the rooms in the ER like this are set up with all the towers and connectivity coming from the roof so that there isn't anything on the floor. And one of the things that you want to be able to do, again for the safety of the patient, is to be able to move everything out of the way, but also not be tripping over things as you walk into a patient's room. And so you've got the tower, which is going to monitor the gases and everything else coming through there, and also in the trauma rooms you're going to see, surgical lights again, which makes it much, much more convenient. And from a safety standpoint, what you want to have when you get into a trauma room. So these rooms are designed for the level and type of trauma that we currently see and will see well into the future also. They have assured us that this is new technology, a new tube system, which will be successful. The old tube systems, and I'm going back 25, 30 years ago, didn't have a high success rate. And if you only get 70% right, then you really don't have a successful tube system. They've assured us with this new technology that we will have absolute perfection in the use of the tube system. There's security built into the system, so when you put a specimen in a container, it will go to where it's supposed to go. It's labeled, and you have certain safety controls in there. But what it allows us to do is immediately collect a specimen and send it to the laboratory without having to wait for somebody to come and collect the specimen. If we need a medication from the pharmacy, we can actually call the pharmacy, and instead of waiting for somebody to bring the medication that we need, if we don't have it here in the ER, instead of waiting, that medication will be sent directly from the pharmacy through the tube system. And what you're seeing here is the sisters in 1960 installed this stained glass in their mother house in Redwood City. And about 7 or 8 years ago, they sold the mother house. They closed it down. And I called the provincial minister to see if we could have the stained glass for our chapel here. So we've had the stained glass in storage for 7 years, knowing as we built the facility, we were going to reinstall this stained glass just to keep the history of the sisters here with us. And it's very, very special for us. And you'll see 2 panels here, and you'll see 2 panels upstairs also. Currently, our dining area is in the basement area. And what we wanted to do is really bring the food service and dining area to the first floor to make it more convenient and to make it safer for visitors and families that are here. Full dining, full grill, but also there is a healthy menu, and if you don't want to have healthy, you can have an unhealthy menu. So you can choose what you want to have. It's already quiet when you walk in the foyer, but when you walk into the patient room, it becomes even quieter and more private for the patient. This is a patient room, it's a private room. All rooms are private rooms. This room is essentially the same size as our existing patient rooms that have 2 beds in them. There's a lot of benefits. It has wireless technology. It'll have a rooming in sofa bed that folds out for if a family member wants to stay here 24 hours a day. Interactive TV system. This is where if we want to do teaching for a patient, say a patient's a diabetic and we want to talk to the patient or teach the patient about diabetic education, you'll be able to use the TV obviously for teaching as well as just pleasure and enjoyment. So this is one C-section room. There's one right next door. Again, new technology. Just like in the other rooms where everything is coming from the ceiling, but very open, very spacious. Again, so the mother doesn't have to leave the 3rd floor. She's able to stay right here. You come around the corner, you have 21 bed in the ICU. You've got 11 beds on this side over here. As you come around the corner, you'll see the other 10 beds. It's all open in a very, very spacious area. The order was going to come through the middle of the space here. As we looked at it, we said we can't have a 14-bed unit and a 7-bed unit. And so what we were able to do is make the one change where we actually rerouted the exiting corridor that allowed us to make this a continuous 21-bed unit. They're still the same size. We have 8 beds for pediatric area. It's very private. Same thing. You come in here and you look at the rooms. The only difference here is you get a nice view of the northern hills of Santa Maria. You get a great view of the cancer center also, which is pretty nice. We're in the process of changing the penthouse and changing out the sign to have the new name and the new logo. That should be up by the time we do the dedication. Santa Barbara City College had some students who needed to do a project. And their project was to be able to design and then draw and paint a mural. I don't know if it was in a hospital or space, and they chose Marian, and they actually chose 2 rooms, one next door and one here, to draw the murals. And it really came out pretty well. You'll see next door also, it's pretty interesting. So if your child coming in here, it just creates a little bit more fun and character. If you're going to be sick in a hospital, you want to feel as comfortable as you can.